Good afternoon and welcome to CCN Midday News. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 17th of June. Another man apparently found dead hanging from a tree. Suspect charged in murder kidnapping. The Trump administration is disappointed in South Africa's call for the UN's probe into America's systematic racism. A bystander pleads with the Georgia officers as they hold 5 children at gunpoint. The Wendy's employee who called 911 on Rayshard Brooks says that he was drunk and sleepy. An elderly Buffalo protester has a fractured skull and can't walk after violent shove from cops. The U.S. sues to block ex-National Security Advisor John Bolton's book. And Florida governor refuses to impose new lockdown on the COVID cases explode. And a white man brandishes a rifle as he accuses black bikers of being on a private road. Let's get to the news. Another man has reportedly been found hanging from a tree in what police say is an apparent suicide, this time in Houston, Texas. Police did not confirm the man's manner of death, but videos circulating on social media apparently show him hanging from a tree outside of the store, according to the Houston Chronicle. The man, whom authorities said was Hispanic, is the third in recent days to be found dead in this manner. Malcolm Harsh and Robert Fuller, both black men whose families did not believe them to be suicidal, were found hanging from trees 10 days apart in California. Officials on Monday announced that the state and federal authorities will monitor the investigation into Fuller's death, which is intentionally ruled a homicide by the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. The coroner, a determination that has since been rolled back. His body was found hanging from a tree in the Palmdale, California park. The state attorney general's office and the FBI Civil Rights Division will oversee the investigation. State officials will also further investigate Hirsch's death as well. Okay, welcome to my commentary part of this news segment. And these are just my views, so these are not necessarily the complete views of CNN Network TV. However, these are the views of Captivating Christian, just to be clear. So let's get in with this FBI probe into these hangings that they have been calling suicides. This will be the third reported hanging suicide in recent days. In the climate in which we are in, as far as with the state of unrest due to police brutality and things of that nature, I would suggest that the FBI start looking into this, just for the simple fact to confirm and make sure that these are not hate crime driven. There are ways to make people look as if things were a suicide, and they were not. People are trained militarily to do these things, so we don't need to act like it's not feasible, because it very much so is. Again, I think that the FBI should look into it, and I think they should take a deep look into it and not just gloss over it just to quiet down any more unrest that may happen throughout the country. And I think that's probably what the goal is, but they really should investigate these situations, because I do believe that a lot of them will turn out not to be suicides, but actually be homicides. Just my A suspect has been charged in the double homicide of two women reported missing this month in Tallahassee. Aaron Glee Jr. was charged with murder and kidnapping, the Tallahassee Police Department say Tuesday, a day after the department announced that Oluwatoyin Salau, age 19, and Victoria Slim, age 75, was found dead. During an investigation of their disappearance, information led police to Glenn's home in the southeast part of Tallahassee on Saturday night, where both women were discovered, police say. The 49-year-old had fled to Orlando on a bus before the police arrived at his home. The department said he was arrested early Sunday by the Orlando Police Department. Court records show, based on evidence recovered at the scene and other information gathered by Tallahassee police in Orlando, Glee was charged with murder and kidnapping. He currently is incarcerated in the Orange County Jail and will be extradited back to Leon County, a Tallahassee Police Department spokesperson told ABC News. My commentary on this young teenager, Toyin, as well as the older Caucasian woman who was found murdered, is highly unfortunate for two reasons. One, that it was at the hands of someone that looks like you, which helps to spread the narrative that is already been pushed out, that, you know, we kill each other type deal. But we have to understand that, yeah, there's a lot of mental illness in our community, but there are also a lot of men who don't like women who assert themselves and have power. And that's a huge issue in our community. No, that doesn't make anything that this man did justify, because it is still disgusting. But at the same time, there's a lot that has to do with this. Yeah, mental illness plays a part, but just the overall nature of how people are brought up and raised says a lot too. He has a history of domestic abuse, some sort of battery towards women. So why pick this young lady out? I'm guessing due to the fact that she's a part of the Black Lives Matter movement in her city and was very vocal and probably quite visible. But we need to start stepping up and protecting our women. We cannot leave it to anyone else to protect them. Yes, they are strong. Yes, they are independent and all of that. And we should still be able to protect them in their own strength. We should be able to look out for them, be their backbones, be their eyes and ears, especially those who put themselves on the front lines for our rights, for injustices. We definitely need to be protecting our people a lot more than we do, not just for the fanfare of it, but when the cameras leave as well, because this shouldn't have happened to this young life to be taken away. And even for the fellow ally in the group, that's just something that, is unfortunate, and it should not have happened. It just shouldn't have happened. It just really shouldn't have happened, and we need to do a better job as men all around in protecting our women. They deserve it. A UN inquiry into U.S. racism would be ridiculous, a U.S. official said on Tuesday, voicing his disappointment in allied South Africa for promoting the idea. The UN Human Rights Council in Geneva is due on Wednesday to discuss racism after a joint call by African nations following the worldwide horror over the white Minneapolis police officer's killing of an unarmed African American, George Floyd. A draft resolution called for an international commission of inquiry into systematic racism in the United States, a high-level probe generally reserved for conflict zones, such as Syria. We in the United States are not afraid to acknowledge the bad things that happen. We're not afraid to acknowledge the fact that racial discrimination happens. He also said, what we're saying is that we want the same standards applied to everybody else that get applied to us. President Donald Trump's administration pulled the United States out of the council 2 years ago, saying that it was biased against Israel and pointing to the inclusion of nations with dubious records such as Venezuela. The State Department official said that South Africa, which is not currently on the council, played a lead role in pushing the racism debate. Okay, so let me get into this a little bit. I know a while back, I'm not sure which show I said it on, but I was saying that it would be great for the continent of Africa to stand up and say something in regards to all of the things that have happened to African Americans in this country, as a, hey, if you don't stop this, we're going to do this, or we're going to at least make it harder, or try our damnedest to do something to where in which you start paying attention to the fact that you have to stop this. We won't allow you to continue to do this, and you're going to get our oil or have our diamonds, something. So I said that, and it was like wishful thinking that would happen. But to hear that the African nations have come together to petition the UN to look into the racial injustice and systematic racism in the United States on a level as they would investigate Syria or Afghanistan for high crimes is really big. I mean, of course, they tried to downplay it and say, oh, well, these African nations are not even in the council, but neither is the United States. So for the State Department to say that, was like, okay. And Trump dropped out 2 years ago. So, I mean, it's the United Nations. Anybody in relation to the United Nations can call out another nation for atrocities that they deemed, are unfitting to be a part of the United Nations. And being that the United States has played such a major role in the United Nations, and then to be called out for the way they treat their own citizens is definitely a gotcha moment. So I think it definitely took the Trump administration back. Of course, because they feel like they can never be questioned. So I'm glad that they're standing up and saying, hey, you have to look into this. And that you must look into it at the level of which you would look into Syria or Afghanistan or any other place that you considered the crimes against people of humanity to be egregious. So that was very big and very important, and I hope it moves forward. Hope it wasn't just lip service. I really hope that the UN really gets involved in this, and if charges need to come about, then so be it. Witnesses in the Clayton County, Georgia, say that law enforcement officers held at least 5 black children at gunpoint while they were walking through a neighborhood. A video of the incident, which was said to have occurred on Monday, was shared on Twitter early Tuesday morning. The video shows 6 children standing there with their hands up, officers giving the commands. At least 5 of the children are said to be black. In a statement on Tuesday, the Clayton County Police Department suggests that officers' body cam footage would help clarify the incident. The Clayton County Police Department leadership is aware of the incident and the video that is on social media involving what appears to be young teenagers, the statement said. What everyone is seeing is a small portion of the entire incident. The department said that it would release the body cam video as well as the audio of the 911 call that prompted the dispatch of the officers. Okay, this, of course, is disheartening because I have a younger nephew than I do nieces. Most of my nieces are grown or in their late teens. So this is a bit disheartening because you have 5 teenagers and they're being held at gunpoint for whatever reason. I guess there was a report of robbery or kids messing around or what have you. That's what the claim is. Nothing has been released as of yet. The only thing that is released is the snippet clip of the children being held at gunpoint. It's so disgusting how you can see children, and just because they don't look like you don't see children. You see potential, you see criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see criminal, you see vigilante, you see all these things, but you don't see children, to the point where you brandish your weapon to children, not talk to them, not say, hey, what's going on, what are you guys doing, because apparently they were cutting through a neighborhood to go to the store, and that's why the call came. Now, as we know already, that people have been, calling on people because they were uncomfortable about seeing them in the neighborhoods or what have you. So you already know that is a recipe for disaster, so to speak. And sorry for the delay, but I was just trying to find the words because it is so disheartening. Like, I just can't find another word to describe the level, not even the level, but the lack of humanity that you have when you see people that don't look like you, and then you try to sit here and put it back on us as if we're the ones. But if instantly before I even open my mouth and say anything to you, you see me as something less than you, then you're going to treat me that way regardless of what I said. And the fact that these children who have been out of school since God knows when due to the coronavirus, and really can't go anywhere and do anything, the minute that they try to do something, someone's calling the police because they feel invaded by their very presence, to the fact that the police officers have to come and brandish weapons to children, to the way you're just warping their minds to make them think instantly when you get called to come to them, whether it's for their aid and protection or whatever it could be, that they could end up losing their lives. So why would they call you? It's just, it's bad altogether. Like, this whole reform thing, it needs to be just a gutting of police, a true gutting. I don't think any other way would be sufficient, because you would have to get rid of it all. It's almost like a toe infection or something. You can't just clip the nail and think, oh, I'm good to go. Like, no, you have to get under the nail bed, which means you have to uproot it. You got to get the whole thing out of here in order to heal the problem. And I think that's the only way you're going to be able to handle it. Sorry for the rant, but that's just how I feel. The Wendy's employee who called 911 on Rayshard Brooks before his fatal shooting in Atlanta told dispatchers Brooks was asleep and appeared intoxicated, but he was not armed, the 911 call shows. "I think he's intoxicated. He's in the middle of my drive-thru," the unidentified caller calmly told a dispatcher last Friday night that the 27-year-old father of 4. "I tried to wake him up, but he parked dead in the middle of the drive-thru, so I don't know what's wrong with him," said the staffer of the restaurant later. The employee made it clear that Brooks' behavior was just an annoyance because he left his cars going around him to use the drive-thru. The 911 call released on Monday by the Atlanta police shows that he woke up, looked at me, and was like, "You gotta move out of the drive-thru," she told the dispatchers. Responding officers initially had a friendly chat with Brooks, who admits drinking to celebrate his daughter's birthday, only turning violent when he fought to escape being handcuffed, which the body cam shows. And so the 911 call from the manager, I'm assuming, of the Wendy's in Atlanta, where the young man Rayshard Brooks had lost his life and was murdered at the hands of the Atlanta Police Department. The 911 call is out. The manager of the Wendy's did call the police because the victim was in the car and fell asleep, but he was holding up the drive-through line. So I'm guessing that they wanted to make sure that the driver was okay and, not having a heart attack, seizure, or anything of that nature. However, she did tell the dispatcher that the person was unarmed and just seemed, intoxicated. They was able to get him up, and he moved out the way. But the cops came, and of course you saw the video the other day. If not, you can check out my news feed. I think it was the other day or the day before. They have an interaction. Everything seems fine. He asked him to take the breathalyzer, and then he was going to put handcuffs on him. But put handcuffs on him for what? Wasn't like he was behind the wheel of a vehicle. The vehicle was parked. He was parked in the parking lot. So if anything, all you had to say was, "Hey, could you call somebody to come pick you up? Because you shouldn't be driving the car." The fact that not only did they try to say that he grabbed the taser of the officer, but from the video footage I saw from the angle, it looks like he got shot with the taser. So if he got shot with the taser, whose taser did he grab? But anyway, moving forward past that, all right, so you tase him. So you chase him then, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you get trained to do, right? You chase him down, and then you chase him down and you put handcuffs on him and do whatever you need to do. But to shoot him, not only shoot him, but to shoot him in the parking lot with all them other cars there was ridiculous. If that's not a blatant regard of civilian life, then I don't know what to tell you. That doesn't make any sense. And yeah, the police commissioner and some other people should just be stepping down, because whoever gave that training that that's what you do in a crowded public place where people have kids in the car getting a meal or something is ridiculous. Here's an update on the elderly man who was shoved to the ground by police officers in Buffalo. Was badly injured as he appeared on camera. He had a crack in his skull, and for now he can't walk. The attorney for the 75-year-old man who suffered a fractured skull from the push and fall, she added that Martin is unable to get up on his own 2 feet for a time being while he is recuperates. He was released from ICU last week but remains hospitalized. And this is the same older gentleman that Donald Trump tried to tie this senior citizen to Antifa and claimed that he was a decoy for Antifa to scramble some messages or just some BS that he pulls from his hat. But like the reports have shown, that the elderly gentleman who was shoved by the Buffalo Police Department and them trying to, I don't know, I guess, show law and order, they wind up fracturing that gentleman's skull, which I knew it was more to it because he was bleeding not only from his head but from his ears as well. So yeah, brutal force does have its consequences. So hopefully it'll bring some attention to that as well. So we'll see where that goes. In other news, the U.S. government looks to sue to block the publication of a tell-all book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton, who claims that President Donald Trump was willing to endanger the nation in order to get reelected. Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened, a White House memoir, is due to be out on June 23rd, the day after my birthday, and has been touted by publishers Simon & Schuster as the book Donald Trump doesn't want you to read. The U.S. claimed the publication of the book would compromise national security. Bolton, who served as Trump's top security aide from April 2018 to September 2019, regularly came into possession of some of the most sensitive classified information that exists in the U.S. government, according to the lawsuit filed Tuesday in Washington federal court. Within 2 months of leaving his role, Bolton reportedly negotiated a book deal worth about $2 million and wrote a 500-plus page manuscript rife with classified information, the U.S. claims. Bolton Books joins a list of more than 20 written by former administration officials and others attempting to tell the inside story of Trump's White House. Bolton paints an unflattering picture of Trump's leadership, including the relations with the president's foreign policy decisions were driven by political calculations, according to the publisher. In other news, the U.S. government looks to sue to block the publication of a tell-all book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton, who claims that President Donald Trump was willing to endanger the nation in order to get reelected. Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened, a White House memoir, is due to be out on June 23rd, the day after my birthday, and has been touted by publishers Simon & Schuster as the book Donald Trump doesn't want you to read. The U.S. claimed the publication of the book would compromise national security. Bolton, who served as Trump's top security aide from April 2018 to September 2019, regularly came into possession of some of the most sensitive classified information that exists in the U.S. government, according to the lawsuit filed Tuesday in Washington federal court. Within 2 months of leaving his role, Bolton reportedly negotiated a book deal worth about $2 million and wrote a 500-plus page manuscript rife with classified information, the U.S. claims. Bolton Books joins a list of more than 20 written by former administration officials and others attempting to tell the inside story of Trump's White House. Bolton paints an unflattering picture of Trump's leadership, including the relations with the president's foreign policy decisions were driven by political calculations, according to the publisher. At a news conference on Tuesday, according to the Tampa Bay Times, Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican out of Florida, closed the door on the possibility of imposing another stay-at-home order or similar measures, even as the new outbreak of the COVID-19 in his state is causing a spike in cases. "We're not rolling back," DeSantis said during a news conference when asked whether he would consider stopping some reopening efforts. "The reason we did it to that magnitude was to protect the hospital system," he went on to say. On Tuesday, Florida reported 2,783 new cases of the coronavirus, more than it has ever recorded in a single day. The reports say it was the fourth time in 6 days that the state reported a record number of cases. DeSantis has been under fire for his initial reaction to the coronavirus pandemic, dragging his feet on shutting down beaches and imposing lockdown. One former state health official said that she was fired to keep data about the spread of the coronavirus quiet, an allegation DeSantis denies. In other news, the U.S. government looks to sue to block the publication of a tell-all book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton, who claims that President Donald Trump was willing to endanger the nation in order to get reelected. Bolton's book, The Room Where It Happened, a White House memoir, is due to be out on June 23rd, the day after my birthday, and has been touted by publishers Simon & Schuster as the book Donald Trump doesn't want you to read. The U.S. claims the publication of the book would compromise national security. Bolton, who served as Trump's top security aide from April 2018 to September 2019, regularly came into possession of some of the most sensitive classified information that exists in the U.S. government, according to the lawsuit filed Tuesday in Washington federal court. Within 2 months of leaving his role, Bolton reportedly negotiated a book deal worth about $2 million and wrote a 500-plus page manuscript, rife with classified information, the U.S. claims. Bolton Books joins a list of more than 20 written by former administration officials and others attempting to tell the inside story of Trump's White House. Bolton paints an unflattering picture of Trump's leadership, including the relations with the president's foreign policy decisions were driven by political calculations, according to the publisher. A Virginia man is facing multiple charges after he brandishes his firearm at 4 African American bike riders who have been accused of being on a private property. Newsweek reports Dennis Lee Berry, age 45, can be seen in a video pointing his rifle at 4 bikers as they took a break during a ride through his neighborhood, according to the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office. The bikers apparently overlooked a private road no trespassing sign. Berry was later charged with 5 misdemeanor counts of brandishing a firearm after a sheriff deputy arrived on the scene.
Okay. So how do you know we don't live here? How do you know we don't live here? How? How? Yeah, because we've been residents of this area. That's how we know where this is. Take you out. I used to live down the street. So why are you pointing a gun at us?
Hey, yo, call the police.
For real.
Call the police now.
Oh. You gonna shoot me for calling the cops? Call them right now. Okay.
Telling me he's brandishing a firearm, pointing it directly at us.
I don't know. I ain't trying to get this man to get trigger happy.
I mean,
keep your hands up.
You'll go to jail. You'll go to jail for.
Just go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Shoot somebody. Go ahead. Shoot somebody.
You'll definitely go to jail for shooting me.
Oh, you'll do real time.
You'll definitely go to jail for shooting me. I'm a federal officer. You'll definitely go to jail for shooting me. You're in a private drive. You'll definitely go to jail.
Actually, the private property sign is all the way up your driveway.
Where do you live?
Just so you know, sir.
You heard what I said.
Your private property sign is right up there.
Did you hear what I said? It's a private drive.
That's private property sign right up there.
When you came in this,
I didn't see a sign.
There was no sign.
I didn't see no signs.
There was no sign. Evidently, you didn't look hard.
Sir, you're pointing a gun at us.
Hey, Josh.
We have no
Josh,
weapons.
what road are we on?
For real.
Wheeling Way Park Road. This is Wheeling. This is just
Wheeling Way
Park Road.
Wheeling Ridge. Parked my bike over here to take a break real quick. Got a white guy out here pointing the gun at 4 black men. Look at this. All we're doing is standing here, pointing this gun right at us.
I'm definitely not.
Racism is not alive in the United States.
Oh yeah, you're on a private drive, bud.
No, I'm not.
It's not private. It's not private.
You can call the police on us.
Go back out there in the road, bud. I guess someone knocked the sign down then. Yeah, you better go look again. I guess you've just been waiting all day to shoot some black people or something, right? Oh, whatever.
Had a couple too many beers, buddy.
Yeah, for real. Like, you came out here pointing a gun.
You could have literally just asked us to leave.
Armed.
You could have just asked us to go, bro.
None of us have any weapons or anything to threaten your life.
But you're pointing a gun.
But you're pointing a gun at us that is probably loaded, that you can accidentally pull a trigger and seriously injure one of us. You can seriously injure one of us with a loaded weapon, and you're pointing a weapon at all of us.
I'm glad they are.
Cool. Y'all on private property.
Okay.
Y'all gonna get arrested.
Okay.
What's this address? Give me your address and we'll.
Wayland Ridge, the end of Wayland Ridge.
I'm sorry, I don't really know the address, but we were just taking a stroll out and we stopped kind of like at a cul-de-sac and this Caucasian male walked out with a gun. Looks like an assault rifle, and he's just pointing it.
Gray shirt, black shorts, hat.
This photo is private property. It's not.
Okay. Pointed at them too if they black.
Pointing his assault rifle.
They trespassing too, right?
Telling us
huh?
we're trespassing.
Oh, I bet they are.
We told him we're leaving, and we're on Wheeling Ridge.
You're trespassing.
We're on Wheeling Ridge. Sir, can I have the address so I can give it to the officer and we can find out if we're really trespassing or not?
There's a mailbox right there.
Oh,
5510?
5510 Wheeling Ridge. You can stop pointing the gun. Like, we're unarmed. You're pointing a gun at us. I'm on the phone with the cops and you're still pointing a gun. I don't know what you got. Is this Wheeling Way? Yeah, Wheeling Way. 5510 Wheeling Way. Wheeling Ridge Way. Sure.
We used to live here. I know that's the whole reason I even know this neighborhood. We was residents of this area.
You're not anymore, bro.
Okay.
You're trespassing.
But that has nothing to do with being trespassing on your property. That is not your. This is not your property. This is a cul-de-sac.
Tell them we're all the way down.
You're trespassing. Private drive, bro.
Your driveway starts right there.
Don't. When you come off that road, it's a private drive.
But it's not yours.
So what about all the other?
But it's not yours.
Dickerson.
But it's not yours.
Pulling in, is that them coming in? Are they trespassing in?
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely Spotsylvania. This is definitely Spotsylvania.
Oh, you don't even know where you at, motherfucker.
I just said it's definitely Spotsylvania.
Yes, sir. You can relax. All right, let's.
Yeah, y'all better relax. Y'all gonna get locked up when the cops get here. The trespass.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
And once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.